ordinary till you see the core side of it.
And what you're looking for is the story behind the news.
We bring it to you from Lagos, the commercial capital of Nigeria.
Giving you all sides and political stories round the clock.
Every detail from the start line to the final whistle.
CoreTV News, expanding your view.
Hello, good evening, and thank you for joining us on CoreTV Primetime News. I am Nifemi Oguntoye. In our major story, President Goodluck Jonathan says no party can beat the People's Democratic Party in the forthcoming general election. Also in this program, activists in Osun State say no to the alleged planned removal of the chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, Atahiru Jega. As the food scarcity bites harder in several parts of the nation, the People's Democratic Party says the APC is behind the scarcity. Outside Nigeria, Namibian President Ife Pukonye Pohamba wins the Mo Ibrahim Prize for Leadership in Africa. Thanks for joining us again. We'll begin with Mr. President's comment on Monday, where he boasted that despite the intimidation being mounted against members of the ruling party by the opposition, no political party can beat the People's Democratic Party in the coming elections. Jonathan said those who have not done anything have been intimidating the ruling party because the party has not been marketing itself. The president spoke in Abuja just as the Director General of his campaign organization, Amadou Ali, said some foreign countries were opposed to Jonathan's re-election bid because he signed the anti-same-sex bill into law. The both spoke during the unveiling of the PDP Ward Volunteer Scheme held inside the presidential villa, Abuja. Jonathan said PDP is not just the largest party in the country, but also the only party that has members in all voting units across the country. Meanwhile, President Goodluck Jonathan says the People's Democratic Party has done well over the years and is willing to do more in the coming years. He also insists that the ruling party is not intimidated at all by other parties whom he says have nothing other than empty promises to offer the populace. President Jonathan said this while addressing PDP aspirants and volunteers across the country. In Abuja, he maintained that the only party that can ensure peace, unity and progress in the country is the People's Democratic Party. And now, Mr. President has offered automatic employment to 164 winners of the 2012, 2013 and 2014 National Youth Service Corps Presidential Award. He also announced automatic scholarship for any of them who wishes to go for further studies. The president made the announcement at the 2014 President's NYSC Honors Award in Abuja. 23.5 million naira was also raised for 9 corps members who sustained injuries during their service year. With barely 3 months to go to the end of the current democratic dispensation, government agencies have been presenting scorecards on their achievement in the past 4 years. Of course, the forum, which is at the instance of the National Orientation Agency, is a 2-day town hall meeting where ministers are to outline government policies to community leaders and market women. Finance Minister Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala and our Works and Transport counterpart on Monday outlined their achievements at the interactive session moderated by the NOA Director General Michael.
The several successes that our government has recorded in various sectors of our national life. In line with the National Orientation Agency's mandate to communicate government policies, programs and activities As clearly spelled out in the Act establishing the agency, we also wish to use this conversation to obtain feedback from people as to how you feel about the several progresses that our government have made in various sectors. It is also our expectation that you will derive value as you learn how to plug into these policies, programs, and activities, take advantage of them to make life better for you, members of your immediate community, and extended family in the true tradition of Africa.
The job is not yet done. We are not saying we are there yet, because we know we still have the accumulation of people who were unemployed from the past, isn't it? It didn't start today. Over the years, this has been accumulated. That is why we needed to know these numbers. So now we are close to closing the gap yearly. We will now be able to tap into the residue of those who are employed and give them jobs.
New initiatives were taken at the Ministry of Works at the behest of Mr. President to ensure that the project management template of the ministry was now pointed to better service delivery.
Commitment to the country. As a parent, I promise
344 0703 83380.
A federal high court in Abuja has rejected an application for an order stopping the Independent National Electoral Commission from using the electronic card readers in the forthcoming general elections. A similar suit challenging the exclusive use of the permanent voter card and the card reader is pending before Justice Abdul Kadir Abdul Kafarati of the Federal High Court in Abuja. Justice Adeni Ademola, in his ruling on Monday on the application filed on behalf of the political parties by 4 senior advocates of Nigeria, held that INEC deserves to be heard before making a pronouncement on their prayers. He noted that the political parties have shown that they have legal rights to institute the action and that the case was one that could be litigated on. But he says the court cannot grant the interim orders sought by the applicants without hearing from INEC. The court, however, ordered INEC to file its defense within 4 days of receiving the court papers, while also fixing hearing of the substantive suit for March the 10th. Meanwhile, INEC in Osun State, in Ogun State, rather, says they are still expecting 425,454 PVCs from INEC, and 510,264 cards have not been collected out of the 1,370,340 received from the Commission. The President Electoral Commissioner Timothy Bitoye made this known during a press briefing at the INEC office Okemoson in Abeokuta, the state capital. He also assured the people of Ogun that the PVC will be distributed immediately they receive them from Abuja.
We are expecting from Abuja registered voters to the tune of 425,454. But the PVC our people have not collected in Ogun State is 510,264. And I assure you that immediately we get the PVC we are expecting from Abuja, we will go back to the PU level to distribute.
The alleged plot by the federal government to evict the chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission at Tahiru Jega before the March 28th general election has received more criticisms. Addressing journalists in Osogbo, the Osun State capital, activist under the aegis of Osun Progressive says Jega's removal and an attempt of shifting polls again is an invitation to anarchy and threat to the nation's coexistence. Rashid has more.
As the new date of the general elections draw near, Nigerians are treated to new intrigues of politics. One of such is the alleged plan by the PDP-led federal government to remove Tahiru Jega and even postpone once again the election. The Osun Progressive Left make clear their terms on these issues.
The election of 28th March and 11th of April are sacrosanct.
which must not be shifted beyond those 2 dates. We are totally opposed to any inconclusive election processes that may prevent the election result from being announced. We are going to resist any attempt by Jonathan's government to embark on any form of military interim arrangement, because the handing over date of May 29 should stand as Democracy Day.
The activists further stressed that Jega's removal will question the integrity of the polls.
Jega is not a civil servant. Jega has never been a civil servant functioning as INEC chairman. It's just very simple. Since the election was still fall within the period Jega was going to oversee the affairs of INEC, they should allow him to conduct the election before it goes to anywhere. They should allow him to conduct the election to give us a credible process.
And if these allegations eventually come true,
it's a repeat of history. People should not just sit down and begin that what happened in 1966 cannot happen. It will even be worse now, because there are so many organizations, military organizations, that are keeping arms. So it will be different from when you are carrying stones and sticks. Some of these youth people that you see on the street, some of them are keeping arms. At just a little spark of violence, you see everybody bring out guns.
As the clock ticks, observers are keenly watching how the political game will end as it becomes more interesting day by day. Rashid, CoreTV News, Oshogbo.
Meanwhile, the People's Democratic Party has debunked the allegation by the APC that the presidency is scheming to push for further postponement of the 2015 general election. Oluwase Yadegoke met with some PDP chieftains and filed in this report.
The various reactions trailing the alleged plot to remove the INEC chairman, Atairu Jega, from the seat by the federal government has brought many reactions from the general public and the opposition party. APC has described it as a plot to rig the forthcoming elections.
They've resorted to lobbying some members of the Council of States to support their clamor for election postponement. We hope the Council, which is due to meet later in the week, will put national interests above narrow partisan considerations and reject the poison chalice of election postponement.
Speaking to the Lagos PDP Publicity Secretary, Gani Taufik, he says nothing of such is happening or will happen.
Unfortunately, this is coming up at a time that we are still battling with a sudden postponement of the election. And it is coming from the opposition that is characteristic of it, always interested in overheating the polity. Now, the unfortunate aspect of it is that they have mentioned it, and if it comes to pass, they will tell you that they mentioned it. If indeed it does not come to pass, they will tell you that because they mentioned it.
Also discrediting the allegations is the Lagos PDP Secretary, Wahab Owokonira.
When things are not going the way of APC, they always make all kinds of false allegations. Everybody knows that Jega will soon be up, and it is customary that when your time is up, either a few months before your terminal date, they always advise, or people naturally go on terminal leave. And I've not seen anything so different from that. Everybody knows that his time is up. So if the APC wants to politicize it, it will be rather unfortunate. The same thing they did during the Salami saga. Everybody knew Salami tenure was about to end. And he went on terminal leave, 3 months terminal leave. What is the big deal? You know, and for them to even be racing around is beginning to raise suspicion that do they really have any understanding with Jiga? Why is it that they don't want Jiga to go? You know, these are the questions we're beginning to ask from the APC. And if you look at their background, the antecedent, there's never been any election that they lost, that they agree that they lost fairly. It is only when they won that we say the election was free and fair.
Lagos PDP urged Nigerians to be wise and vote for the party in the forthcoming general elections. Oluwase Yadegoke, CoreTV News, Lagos.
You're watching CoreTV Primetime News. We'll be back with more stories after this time out. Don't go away.
From time immemorial, women have birthed life, shaped character, and by extension, influenced the society. Moremi of Ife, Emoten of Benin, Queen Aminat of Zaria, all women of influence and power.
Whether it's before election, after election.
How ironical. women being so powerful yet have few grounds in decision making.
I see you as a wife, and I see you as a wife to a man.
We are talking women in politics.
A woman will be bold enough to stand up and say, I want to become president of Nigeria.
Only on CoreTV News.
Thanks for joining us again. A recap of some of our top stories. President Goodluck Jonathan says no party can beat the PDP in the forthcoming general elections. Activists in Osun State say no to the alleged planned removal of the chairman of Independent National Electoral Commission, Atahiru Jega. As the food scarcity bites harder in several parts of the nation, the People's Democratic Party says the APC is behind the scarcity. You can also get all of our top stories on any of our social media platforms. On Facebook, it's facebook.com/CoreTV News. Our Twitter handle is at CoreTV News NJ, and we're streaming live on YouTube. It's youtube.com/CoreTV, leave a space, and news. Moving on now, a political organization, Mass Movement for Buhari, has raised the alarm over what it describes as violence and intimidation against members of the All Progressives Congress and members of the opposition parties in the southeast. A statement on Monday in Abuja by the national coordinator of MMB, Kenneth Ibe Kalu, alleged that members and supporters of the PDP sporadically unleashed mayhem on members of opposition political parties, including APC and Labour Party, in all the 5 states under the zone. According to him, members of the major party consistently intimidate opposition in the southeast in an attempt to forcefully get its support. He said PDP members are up in arms against members of the opposition in all the southeast states, with a specific example of Ebonyi, where he alleged that PDP members have been attacking members of the Labour Party. National leader of All Progressives Congress, Bola Tinubu, is set to sue the management of the Dar Communications Limited, owners of the Africa Independent Television AIT, over a documentary aired on Sunday. Counsel to the opposition figure Tunji Abayomi said a letter asking Dar Communications to apologize and stop further airing was delivered on Monday afternoon. He noted in the letter that the hour-long documentary, which focused on his client, was filed with political resentment and several false allegations. Abayomi added that the station claimed that the material was sponsored, but failed to disclose the sponsors. He argued that freedom of expression does not give anyone the right to indulge in character assassination. The lawyers consequently demanding 20 billion naira as cost of damage done to the reputation of his client, failing which he will sue the company. And now to Kwara State, where resident electoral commissioner Emmanuel Onacheyo has charged politicians to spend more time electorating than investing in violence. He urged all party leaders and candidates to use this extension period to educate all their supporters and followers rather than letting them engage in evil acts. He made this call during a lecture forum organized by Nigerian Union of Journalists, Kwara Branch, where he was a speaker.
Let the political parties, the politicians, go and talk to their strikers who are supposed to score goals. They should go and talk to their defenders. They should go and talk to goalkeepers. Okay? This is the message I want you to convey to them.
The Kwara Rec also gave warnings to all journalists not to misuse their right and go beyond their boundaries, saying that they have limited areas to cover. It further explained that journalists are not allowed to interview a voter or any candidate during the voting process.
An observer, a polling agent, or any special guest inside the polling unit during voting. You are not allowed to do that. You are not allowed to film, photograph, or interview any individual within the polling zone without his or her consent. You are not allowed to film or photograph any voter marking a ballot or acquiring any pictures. Film, footage, or audio commentary which records personal details of the voter.
Following the bloody clash that left at least 2 members of the Accord party dead and many injured at a disrupted political gathering alleged to have been masterminded by political thugs of the APC in Oyo State, many people have continued to wonder on what the security situation in the state is turning into at the critical period of electioneering. Now, the state police commander says that it's not resting on its oars to arrest the situation, with a parade of 8 suspects said to have been involved in the violence. We'll bring you details of that report subsequently. The People's Democratic Party has blamed the sudden fuel scarcity in many parts of the country on the All Progressives Congress, which it claims has infiltrated the ranks of the fuel marketers. It also claims that opposition elements have been sponsoring vandals to damage critical infrastructure in order to reduce the megawatts of electricity being transmitted in the run-up to the polls. Statements for spokesman for the party's campaign team, Femi Fani-Kayode, said in a statement in Abuja that the fuel marketers have taken a subcontract from the opposition to frustrate supplies of petrol to fuel stations as part of a grand plan to create tension in the party. He claims that the PDP knows who the fuel marketers are, as well as the existing relationship between one of the biggest fuel marketers and a national leader of the APC. The PDP campaign spokesman says all these are being done to frustrate the good works of the Jonathan administration. Meanwhile, queues in service stations are back once again as commuters have been made to feel the harsh effects of scarcity of fuel. Of course, our correspondent Patience Ajiboye visited some petrol filling stations and spoke to commuters in Lagos. Brought back this report.
Barely 2 months after the reduction of the price of fuel from 97 naira to 87 naira, residents of the Lagos metropolis experienced the return of fuel scarcity as long queues of motorists reappeared at filling stations. While many say they are not aware of the reason behind the scarcity, others are of the opinion that it is related to the forthcoming elections.
Maybe because of the election or what, I don't even know. 6 o'clock, I'm going to Owerri. This is my boss.
Right now I'm traveling to East. I cannot get fuel to travel, you know. I don't know the problem. That is it. Yeah, I'm here for more than 1 hour ago now. I never even got fuel, and this is almost 12, and I never get fuel. And I'm going to East. I don't know what I will do.
One of the managers of one of the stations where the product was in larger demand than the available supply had this to say.
We don't know. I don't work with NNPC. I don't work with PPMC. We buy from them and sell. So, and we have been buying at the normal price. There has not been any increase as at now. If they will increase, I do not know. I'm not one of the policymakers.
Speaking to one of the commuters, he says the scarcity is no longer new to him and should not be a surprise to all Nigerians also.
It's our nature. We have been seeing it before the year. We have been seeing it for many years. So whenever I come, we take it that way. So the fuel scarcity for years, for long, any small thing, fuel scarcity, any small problem, fuel scarcity. So it don't matter us.
While some stations have done well to sell what they have until it is exhausted, many have shut down business. Meanwhile, commuters are not happy with the current situation and hope it will get better on time. Patience Ajiboye, CoreTV News, Lagos.
News just reaching us now says there's a fire outbreak at Mambila Army Barracks in Abuja. Cause of fire is yet to be identified. We'll bring you details of that story in our subsequent bulletins. Lagos State Governor Babatunde Fashola says that Nigeria requires leaders with outstanding qualities to take it out of its current challenging situations. Fashola emphasized these after administering oath of office to 12 newly appointed permanent secretaries in the state civil service. He advised the newly sworn-in secretaries to shun corruption and discrimination in the course of service delivery to the general public.
Let me also remind you that you also swore before us and before God to eschew corruption. But I think that in dealing with the problems of corruption in our country, we have focused on the monetary side of corruption. If you look at the definition of corruption, it is not just an illegal act for pecuniary purpose. It is also gaining undeserved and undue advantage. And these are things that you must avoid. Partisanship. Because if I did not avoid them, you probably won't become permanent secretaries.
Meanwhile, he also has inaugurated a three-man governing council for the Lagos State Public Service Staff Development Center. We'll take another break now. We'll be back with business, sports, and stories outside Nigeria. Stay with us.
You can now watch CoreTV News live from anywhere in the world on our website, www.coretvnews.com. Click on Live TV on our website and watch us live.
And welcome to CoreTV Primetime Days.
To follow us on Twitter, click on Twitter icon on our website. On Facebook, click on the Facebook and YouTube to see all our previous news production. You can also watch us live on YouTube. Click CoreTV, leave a space, then news. CoreTV News, a 24-hour news station.
On business tonight, the federal government is set to establish the Development Bank of Nigeria for small and medium-scale enterprises. The coordinating Minister of the Economy and Minister of Finance, Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, disclosed this at a two-day town hall conversation on government policies, programs and policies in Abuja. The bank, which, according to the minister, will be launched in April, is expected to assist operators and owners of small and medium-scale businesses access loans. Nigerian financial analysts have predicted that the nation's currency, the naira, may strengthen this week as banks are expected to meet cut-off time for submission of customers' dollar demand to get the required dollar supply from the Central Bank of Nigeria at the interbank foreign exchange market. This, they believe, would reduce the rate of depreciation of the local currency. The naira remained weak against the dollar as it depreciated consecutively on all days last week as customers scramble for dollar from sources other than the CBN when the cut-off time for submission of customers' dollar demand was not met. In the bid to defend and reduce the pressure on the naira, the CBN closed the retail, Dutch auction system and wholesale Dutch auction system window the penultimate week after its last auction on Wednesday. Meanwhile, analysts expect the Nigerian interbank offered rates to witness relative stability this week as the impact of the 500 billion naira Federation accounts allocation trickles into the banking system. The naira, however, appreciated after recording 6 consecutive days of losses against the dollar to peg mid-court at 200 naira 34 kobo a dollar, representing a 1.16% appreciation. Average change on Nigerian interbank offer rate settles at 0.34% as the call 1 million, 3 million and 6 million rates pegged at 10.96%, 15.51%, 16.88% and 17.76% respectively. Open Buyback, OBB, and OVN also trended upwards as both rates settled at 11.21% and 11.54% in that order. Meanwhile, activities in the sovereign bond market mirrored the Treasury bill market as yields on the August the 2016, July 2030, July 2034, and May 2029, as well as November 2029 bonds paired with the average change in offer that's yielded for the day settling at 0.06%. The federal government is now set to establish the Development Bank of Nigeria for small-scale and medium-scale enterprises. We'll bring you details of that story subsequently. Let's now join Sabina Zoku, who's been winning the war between the bears and the bulls on the floor of the Nigerian Stock Exchange.
CoreTV News Stock Market Report.
Hello there and welcome to the Stock Market Report segment with me, Sabina Izuku. The equity transaction on the floor of the Nigerian Stock Exchange ended on a positive note today as the Nigerian All-Shares Index appreciates by 0.54% to close at 30,267.18 basis points. The market capitalization closed at 10.09 trillion naira. In all, a total volume of 261.8 million units of shares valued at 2.98 billion naira were exchanged in 3,329 deals. Mobil Oil topped the gainers chart to close at 153 naira with 3 naira price difference, followed by Nigerian Breweries, Guarantee Trust Bank, International Breweries, and Zenith Bank. On the flip side, Nestle topped the losers chart, followed by 40 Oil, 7-Up, United Africa Company of Nigeria, and GlaxoSmithKline. Meanwhile, United Bank for Africa topped the traders chart, followed by Diamond Bank, First Bank Nigerian Holdings, Zenith Bank, and Guarantee Trust Bank. And to wrap up the stock market report, here's the currency trade for today.
CoreTV News Stock Market Report.
Browser One Eye standing by to bring you updates from the world of sport. Stick around.
Join us on our sport news tonight. I am Brownson Uwana. Nigerian Football Federation Technical Committee head Felix Anyasi has said Keshi is immature in the way he's handling the situation that has to do with his contract. Keshi, whose contract has not been renewed after failing to qualify the country for the 2015 African Cup of Nations, revealed that he was far from impressed with what was an offer, adding that the NFF are liars for misinforming Nigerians on his position as Eagles coach. According to Anyasi, the big boss should have directed his reservation about the new offer to the Nigerian Football Federation instead of embarrassing the country of his potential employers in the media. Coach Samson Siasia has debunked rumors that his players rejected a $1,000 bonus proposed by the Nigerian Football Federation to pay for the squad winning bonus for beating Gabon in the first leg of the qualifying match of the 2015 All-African Games. The team defeated Gabon 4-1 in Brazzaville to start campaign on a very bright note. The former Super Eagles trainer also vowed to work more on the defensive area of the team before their return leg against Gabon in Abuja. Siasia announced today as deadline for the players to return to camp after their weekend showing for their clubs in international competitions. And now to stories in the Nigerian Professional Football League. An emergency meeting of the Premier League clubs and chairman and managers has been slated for Wednesday, 4th March 2015 in Abuja. The secretary of the Club Owner Association, Aloy Chukwuemeka, dropped the hint in the lorry while speaking with sport writers. He said the emergency meeting will discuss a lot of issues as it affects the league, including the report incident of attack on the coach of Sharks of Port Harcourt, Benga Ogugbote, by suspected irate fans of the club, among other important issues. The club owner scribe urged all members to arrive in Abuja same day, while the meeting starts at 10 p.m. prompt. Final sport news tonight in the world of tennis. Ademore slipped to 5th in the ATP World Rankings after he was leapfrogged by informed Nishikori. The British #1 suffered a surprising defeat since reaching the Australian Open final as he was beaten by Gail Simeon in the quarterfinals in Rotterdam, while he was ousted by Bona Koric in the same stage in Dubai. Djokovic holds a comfortable lead at the top of the rankings, but nearly rival Roger Federer sent out a warning to the Serb with a 3-6, 7-5 win in Saturday's Dubai Championship Finals. Davis Cup duty will occupy Murray's mind in the next few days as he is preparing for Great Britain's upcoming tie against the United States in Glasgow from March 6 to 8. And that's my final wish on Sport News tonight. Very big thanks for watching. I am Brownson Wana.
Every day, every hour, and every minute, news break in Nigeria. Things happen so fast, it's most times difficult to track and comprehend them. But that's what we do right here on Digi360. 2015, would you want to come back again?
It's like asking Jesus Christ if he knew he was going to die, will you want to come back as the savior of the world again?
We do not just help you track the stories, we break them down, explore all the angles, analyze the issues so that you can fully comprehend the stories and use them to make the right decisions.
Outside Nigeria now, Namibian President Hifikepunye Pohamba has been declared the winner of the 2014 Mo Ibrahim Foundation Prize for Achievement in African Leadership. Pohamba piped two other retired African heads of state, including former President Mwai Kibaki, to the award, which came with a $5 million prize money. Now, the other leader in contention was Mozambique's former President Armando Guebuza, who left office on January 15, 2015. Pohamba is set to receive $200,000 per year and $5 million, of course, dollars over the next 10 years.
Has decided to award the 2014 Ibrahim Prize for Achievement in African Leadership to President Pohamba of Namibia. President Pohamba has ceased to be a president in the sense of the mandate. His mandate was concluded by December. I spoke to him yesterday, and I spoke to his successor yesterday. And he was overwhelmed by the decision. But the fact remains, if for example, we had decided to award somebody who was still in the context of his own mandate, the mandate is going on, it will be different. But he's there simply because the swearing-in ceremony has been made to take place in March.
The prize, which was founded in 2006, seeks to recognize and honor exceptional African leaders who have developed their countries, and helped to elevate poverty and promote equality. The prize was not awarded in the years 2013, 2012, and 2009 after the committee heading the awarding process failed to agree on a candidate in the listed years. The United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights Zeid Ra'ad Al Hussein said on Monday that more than 6,000 people have been killed since violence erupted in Ukraine last April, decrying a merciless devastation of civilian lives and infrastructure. Launching his office's 9th report on the situation and violence-rocked Ukraine, Zeid called on all sides to respect a fragile Minsk peace deal and halt the indiscriminate shelling and other hostilities that have created a dreadful situation for civilians. His comments came amid a relative calm along the front line in eastern Ukraine that has now raised hope that the sides are moving towards implementing the shaky European brokered ceasefire.
There has been a stark escalation in hostilities, especially in January and the first half of February, leading to increased violations of international human rights law and international humanitarian law, with devastating consequences for the local population. From mid-April 2014 until 15 February 2015, at least 5,665 people were killed. Full reports on casualties, especially near Donetsk airport and in Debaltseve area, are still pending. The OHCHR estimates that the total number of people killed in eastern Ukraine has now passed the 6,000 mark. The deliberate targeting of civilian areas may constitute a war crime, and if widespread and systematic, crime against humanity. The human rights situation in Ukraine remains grave. The most recent challenges include a series of terrorist attacks in Kharkiv and Odessa. There are fears of the resumption of hostilities and concerns of a military campaign on Mariupol. The peace talks in Minsk, which resulted in a new ceasefire agreement on 15 February, is certainly a welcome development. I call both sides to respect it because it is the only way out of crisis that is national, but also increasingly regional and global.
To end CoreTV Primetime News tonight, a recap of our major stars. President Goodluck Jonathan has said no party can beat the PDP in the forthcoming general elections. We also reported that activists in Osun State has said no to the alleged plant remover of the chairman of INEC, Professor Atahiru Jega. And as the food scarcity bites harder in several parts of the nation, the PDP has said the APC is to be held responsible. That wraps it tonight on CoreTV Primetime News. On behalf of the production crew, I am Nifemi Oguntoye. Thanks for being there.